So what I now have to do is refit the gasket and the rocker cover. So I'll stop the camera just now and I'll get that all set up. Get to you in a minute. So I'm back around the right hand side of the bike, and what I'm doing is I'm seating the ridge on the top of the gasket up into the groove in the rocker cover as much as I can round this side. Stay there, you bugger. So I've got it seating in quite nicely round here. So I put that down and then I'll go back round to the other side and I'll get it all jiggled into place. You sort of feel it all sitting properly, you know, if it's in place and it's not risen up or popped out anywhere else round the engine. So I'll go round there and I'll see if it's jiggled in at this side as well. I've watched other videos where they put the gasket into the cover and then fit it onto the engine, but I tried that and what happened was it didn't bloody stay in. That's it. I just felt it, everything just sort of clonked right into place, and you can sort of look underneath and see that it's not pinched or sticking up anywhere. So that's lovely. Yeah, so as I said, I tried doing that technique using the gasket up inside the cover, but when I turned it over to pop it down into the engine, the gasket just fell off anyway, and so I had to fiddle it back into position. So looking underneath, I can see it's in its groove. So I'll now get the bolts and put these back on. So like I say, these bolts, the service kit from Hitchcock's, they have a new metal lined grommet thingy in them. So you put them on, and the ones that I took out were chewed to bits. So I don't know how that happened. If the valves were done correctly at the service, then they should have had new ones in. Because like I say, these ones have already been in and torqued to between 10 and 12 Newton meters, and then when I took them back out, they're in perfect condition. So I really don't understand how they got chewed up at the 300-mile service when this should have been done. And also I had to pick a lot of silicone sealant off that looked like it had been there from the factory. So maybe they did put some more silicone on at the service, but you know, who knows? Who knows? But like I said, there was an awful lot of silicone spaghetti, as it were, about the place. Round the gasket, round the inside of the rocker cover, round the inside of the actual head of the engine. There was bits of silicone sort of hanging down in towards there. So I wasn't overly happy at that. So I've cleaned it all out. I've not put any more silicone back in. Purely because I've watched other videos of people doing it and they haven't put silicone back in and haven't reported any problems since. So I'll get these most of the way down and then I'll go get my torque wrench. So what I don't want to do just now is over tighten them, and then the torque wrench would just click anyway, and it might be way more than the prescribed amount. So I'll be back in 2 seconds and I'll torque these down. Right, so I went and got my pardon me, my torque wrench, and I waited a few minutes because the window cleaners were here. So again, I've got the 10mm socket on. I've got this torque wrench set at 11 Newton meters because it says between 10 and 12 in the service manual. There we go, click. Right. I'll go around the other side rather than reaching over. So I'll get these two as well. I like this torque wrench. It's a 10 tools torque wrench. It does between 5 and 25 Newton meters, so it's pretty accurate. That's that one. Now the last one. I've got a bigger torque wrench. This one's a 3/8 drive, and I've got a bigger one that's a 1/2 inch. It goes like right up. It's good for like rear axles and things. They're usually up about 90-100 Newton meters. Okay, that's that. And while I'm at it, I might as well torque the spark plug back down. Yeah, there we go. So again, the Newton meters for the spark plug are between 10 and 12. I'm just winding this down with my fingers. It's quite a fine thread on a spark plug, so it does take quite a few turns to get it down. But I had the plug out yesterday and gave it a clean and everything, so I don't really need to take it out and bugger around a bit today again. It's getting down there. It's a really easy bike to work on because the spark plug is here. You know, you could even remove it with the tank on. A lot of modern bikes, obviously like twin cylinders and things, and 4 cylinders, are all buried up under here, under bodywork and stuff, so I like this. It reminds me a bit of the BMW that I used to have. That's it already. Wow. Yeah, that hardly turned from finger tight there. It's definitely on. It's definitely clicking. Oh well, that's that. So that's the valve check done, and I'm quite happy with that. I got the valve set. So it's the 008 at the intake and 018 on the front. That's your feeler gauges you need. They're supposed to be torqued to 11, but like I say, I can't do that with a torque meter without buggering up the adjustment. So I just guessed, and as long as you don't go over tight and snap everything. Put the rocker cover back on with the gasket sitting on the engine, and then sort of manoeuvred the rocker cover into place, pushing the ridge on the gasket up into the groove in the rocker cover, and then round the other side, and then just a wee shuggle and you'll feel it all pop into place. You have a look round underneath, all round, to make sure it is sitting in properly, but you would notice, it would be sitting squint when you try and screw it down. So that's that. They're all tightened to 11 as well, spark plug tightened to 11. So what I've got to do now is, let me see, take the cable ties off that's holding everything up. I've got these reusable ones. They're absolutely brilliant. And put the bracket back on that holds the coil, plug a couple of things in, and then get the tank on. So I shall get on with that. I'll get everything set up for that. See you in a minute. So there's one more wee job to do before I get back to putting the tank on, and that's to tighten this crankshaft cover back up. It says 20 Newton meters. I don't have an adapter to use my torque wrench to go from 3/8 up to a 1/2 inch, so I've just tightened it up but not went crazy, so that'll have to do. But if I ever get around to buying an adapter to take it from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, I'll check it again. So that's that. So I've now got to take all this gubbins, take the cable ties off. I got these reusable ones from Aldi. They're brilliant. You just do that. See if I can get it again with this one. You just push the wee tab in and it opens the cable tie back up, so you don't have to keep buying cable ties. I love saving money. In fact, these cable ties are an absolute game changer for me. Like, they're the best thing since unsliced bread. So I'm going to go round, I'm going to get the bracket and everything lined back up, and the plug lead and everything. I'll get everything lined back up, and then I'll get the 2 bolts and the earth clamp back on the other side. Catch you in a wee minute. Okay, that's the tank sitting back on. It's propped against its rubber bungs at the front, and I've also put the 2 breather pipes back on, one either side. So what I'll do is I'll stick a couple of pictures up so you can see what it looks like when they're off and when they're on. But what I'm going to do now is connect the fuel pipe. That's the one with the yellow clickers, and as you'll see when you do this, the fuel pipe has a sort of ridge, a knuckle almost, as you would call it, halfway up. So what you have to do is make sure it goes on and actually clicks over that when you're putting it on. That's it. I think you heard the click. So that's the fuel pipe on and connected up properly. If you're not sure, then just sort of redo it and make sure. So I'm now going to put this electrical plug back on. Again, it's totally hidden up in here. So I'll scooch down and see if I can see what I'm doing rather than just flapping about and guessing. It'll also make a click when it goes back into place. That's it. Clicked in. And there's a rubber boot as well that you want to line up and push it up over. So I'll do that off camera. I don't want to fiddle about for 5 minutes and bore you to death. So that's that. And yeah, the tank just dropped off its block there, so I'll just prop it back up again. Okay, so that's that. And one more wee job round the front is I have to put the wee plate back on, the wee trim plate here. So I got that, and it's a couple of wee number 4 Allen bolts. Stick that up, get it on, just line it up, simple enough. That doesn't feel quite right. Start again. That's it. Don't ever want to cross a bolt or a fastener. Cross thread it, so you've got to be careful. That's that lifted up. Again, I don't think there's any particular torque spec, but if there is, it won't be very much, because it's just a bit of cast aluminium of some sort, some alloy. So that's them on. So that's basically it.